So står der Veda Dev Poshut, Vedas Habirunim Omo, we gear and struggle and the effort with the Messias of the world, with the Kashmirs, Elon to be Mala the team, to be Deisa Michelle, the Ra, that's the close of Vedas Habirunim. Dafke דהיינו בשלב והנפש הבאמית וכן כל הדברים הגשמיים כדי לברר ולסוד the Eved Poshet Avidosai is to enter the world, to be part of it, to be involved with the Dvarim HaGashmiyim, which can't be altered and elevated. Uisedlen, as they say in Yiddish, to make delicate and holy something that you don't have a connection with it. In other words, by running away from the Eved HaGashmi, then you're not going to be Mavada, you're going to elevate it. And since the Aveda of the Eved Poshet is dark, the elevation and the Bira in the Veda Magashmi, therefore he has to be Slavshas. He has to enter the Nefesh Abamim. It's one of the explanation in that in the Siddhas that the emerson Bira, the Nefesh Abamim is Darki entering his territory and trying to make him also appreciate the Maila of Vedas Hashem and eventually to appreciate the Inyana El Kudus, because ultimately there is Seichel in the Nefesh Abamim. It's just that the way he is, Mitzad his Teva Tildosai, that Seichel is what's called a Seichel Hanikno. It's like purchased or enslaved into Inyanim to justify the usage of the Kashmir just purely for its own sake. However, he does have an initial Seichel. It's just that it has to be approached in a way that will interest him, Dainu, make him aware that this Indian Kedusha which is being offered to him is Kedai for him. In other words, to use the expression, it's worth his while. That ultimately he himself will benefit from the Inyanim and Kedusha which are being explained to him. So that's the way to the Nefesh Abamim is to cause him himself to understand the Sikloi Hu, and eventually for him to even have a leaning and then ultimately a Chuka, a Afila to the Inyanim Ativim. But you can only do that if you enter him and you actually have to do with him, to use the expression at close range. Then it's possible to carry that out in the Nefesh Abamim. Even somebody like the Eved Naaman who we've described before here, he doesn't really have that whole Ilim with the Nefesh Abamim, because he is Melchatchila Lamachai Madrega, and he's not really told in the Dvarim HaGashmiyim, or he's told in Inyanim elevated things and Dvarim Nailim, and being Mamshik Vedas and Yenim B'chulis. He's Melchatchila, what you might call moved out from the Inyanim HaGashmiyim, and his Nefesh Abamim doesn't trouble him or be involved with him, because he either he's been Mavatal, it's purpose at an earlier stage in his Aveda, or he's got what they call an Eitel in Nefesh Abamim, so that the cloud doesn't bother him. This is well known, there's different madrigas in Emerson Eid Hashem. But the Eved Poshet being a Odom, but he's had some shayt to Kashmirs, and he's not shayt to Madrigas and to big levels in Ruchtiyas. Therefore, he faces the Nefesh Abamim at what you might call direct confrontation with the Dvarim HaGashmiyim and with the Dvarim produced by the cunning and the strategy of the Nefesh Abamim. Therefore, the only answer that he has is to attack them and attempt to bring them also into the realm of Kedusha on their own terms and what you might call a used expression at close range. Therefore, the Eved Posher, he started required a very difficult task of his slavshas, entry into the Nefesh HaBahamias and into all the Dvarim HaGashmiyim, but his purpose in doing that is also not of his own willing, but because he realizes that that's the kavanah of his master, the Heimlich in the Nimshal. That's the Eibishter's will. But he does that kedei levararom, in order to elevate them and bring them also to a shaykhus, ultimately to be kelim to Ratzon Hashem, and kelim b'klal to Binyani Torah, Mitzvahs and Elokus. Therefore we saw commission is boil yil yiva maskil tiku. That's in the previous line. She says, "Oh, fin sapiru milmata l'mayla." Because as we pointed out, the Eved Ne'eman, he's a mentioned shaykh to very high inyanim. It's Pamela, he's called milmayla l'matas. We already discussed, because he just brings down high things, what they call a bittul in the Olam and in the Dvarim HaGashim, in the Nefesh HaBahamias, but they're Mamela. Therefore, it's Kilu, he's being led more Mamela by the Inyanim in which he's Oiseh. The Nefesh HaBahamias of the Eved Posher is Mamish B'Toikfoi, like it is. Mitzad the normal birth of a person, therefore he has no choice but to fight it at close range, because he's not trying to high madregas in Oiros Elyonim like the Ne'eman. Haris Emagia Davki b'Pnimis Pnimius v'Atzmus Ein Seif L'Mayla Ve'Ein Areich Me'Avedas Eved Ne'eman. We had to do this in the last year. Shavidose hipkimus milmayla lamata canal. As we just explained, she'einu mamshik ki'im v'yiso'eirois ba'giluim, that the Eved Ne'eman, he's stuck in Megala, very high inyonim, but those are inyonim which right from their very shoyrosh, arishin, lamayla, in Ein Seif, they're already inyonim which were sharp to Gilead, they already, as it were, been nimshak, mina atzmus, to be mekoiros of inyonim of Gilui Elokus in the Seder, how it is until the Tzimtzum and the Achrei Tzimtzum and after the inyan of Eilaman. In other words, inyonim which were malchatchila shayach to Gilui and revelation to Mekablin from the Ein Seif. However, they have been ruling the Matalamayla through that attempt to purify the world, and that struggle with the Olam, what you might call face-to-face battle on the part of the Eved Posher, but that's B'Kamil Matalamayla Nimshim B'Finasa Atzmus Mamish. That brings the Oiris Alea Mamish Kruli Bois Porach within the Atzmus, V'Zehu Kivir Chodosh Mamish. And that's what we saw. A very great new Indian here in Samoa, and in many places, the concept of a new light, Oyer Chodosh, and we discussed that at some length. We saw that the reason for that is Amin Mida, Keneged Mida, Da Biruni Main finishes Chadshas. Because the whole Indian of Birunim is like an Indian of his Chadshas. Tahainu, if you take something which is be'etzem shayach to klippers, the Hainu klippers noiga, and klippers noiga is a very difficult klipper because it's deceiving, it seems to have some evil aspect to it, a shayach to kedusha, it's got a hexer stamp on it, nonetheless, there's this ability for it to pull it, to draw the other into inyanim which can eventually be malachikim altogether from Elokus. So things which are under the government and the shlita, as you might call it, by the Indian klippers, the Hainu klippers sneka, all of a sudden they are oila and they become kelim and they become shaykhs to the Indian, and particularly like we mentioned, we spoke about Shabbos, it's also brought down here in the Hemshech. Not only does he make them forcefully shayach to Elokus, nor the Birunim poil in the Nitzutzis and in the Inyanim and Klippus Noiga that they themselves want, and they themselves shrey that they want to have shaykhs to Elokus. Therefore, that's a in of newness, his hardship. Taking something which was hyper, kilo the Habaya, hyper beetle to Rotzen Habaya, beetle to the Eibster until it goes, and it causes it to become a clean mamish goes. On the contrary, it has its own Rotzen and its own shukra to be mistabik in Elokus. Remember, that's a new thing. That's what we call a chidush, a ischatches, and as well known, the whole concept of ischatches considers that the Eibster, the way he created the Yesh Lamata was he created it in Yesh Min Ho'ayin. From the level of Ayin he brought about the Ini for Yesh. And the Embassy Inian of Biro is to make from the Yesh Ayin, to make the Yesh back into the Ini for Ayin. And that's a Inian of Kiddush. And the famous Moshe from that of the Tzipah Amidoberes, the bird that talks, that's a Dova Kiddush. And that's what is a mashal for the Indian Avedas Bitul Hayesh, but that's connected with this whole Indian of the Aveda of the Evid Poshu. Said Davke Nishlama Akavona or Elyeina Shinisava HaKadosh Baruch Hu is lo Indira B'Taptoin. Shezo Davke Ba'Bira B'Omo V'Yediya Shehutkinus Abira Demumata L'Mayim. שבזה אויסנס הדברים התחתונים עצמון כלים לאלוקות, שזהו אמיתיס הכוונה העצמיות. ואוכן בזה דווקא נמשך בבינוס ההלם העצמי דאין סייף ממי. Remember that we see that the Nyonim Pshutim, which deal with being mahapik, making a chiddush in the dvarim harachoichim me'oyaponav zibah, and doing dafki ba'omo v'yegiya, or dafki that makes the essence of dira b'tachtoinim. Why? Because the whole Indian of a dira is not just that the door of a dira is there b'makib al-dira. You can't just place yourself over the dira and have your name called on it, or ka'etzah was there. It's also a dira of yours, but then it's not your dira kipshuta. Your dira kipshuta is when you enter the dira and you live in it, mamish, bepuel, b'slapshis b'tekol inyone hadira, and all the inyonim which are in the dira, they all help and assist you, and they all become kelim for your necessities till they become inyonim, what they assist and even improve your situation, or they are upon him elevated and beautified. Well, that's the inyan of a dira. So that's taki when the dvarim apshutim b'toich hadira are made in a way that they are suitable to be used by the melody. So that's carried out precisely by the Evid Poshu. Davki, he makes the dvarim ha'ki tachtoinim, he makes them dira loy yizbarach. He causes that they become kelim to elokus. Now we're going to see as we go along a bit more about this concept of kelim, making the dvarim gashmim kelim to elokus. Because we see that a kli is something that receives b'toicha. It's got a receptacle in it. It's bought away because that it receives in it the inyan, and Bamela it unites and assists the inyan, like we just pointed out. If you put something in a cup, then the cup not only takes it, but if it's a proper cup, then it assists. As is well known, that if you drink wine in something that's not quite good for wine, it spoils the taste of the wine and the use of the wine, even though it may be a kelim or something else. We just put it in simple plastic or another, whatever, such a good time. If you drink it in a good, well-made glass, then it has a different ashpah on the whole Indian, the ka'etzah was there. And the same with hot liquids. If you put them in certain things, and they don't taste good, but if they put in a mutam lehem, then that brings out their taste. and moving bepastet. So that's the Indian, that thing which is a kli, and an emes a kli, not only it just receives the matter given into it, but it's also Messiah and Moisif into the Indian which is put into it. It assists and it helps and adds depth or taste to the Indian. Well, that's the idea of Dira B'Taktoinim, that the Dvarim Gashmi B'Taktoinim, not only they're Keilim to it, because it's possible for the Abish to actually to express himself there, but they, as it were, they then add a whole new shleimus in the Indian of the Abish that Kavioho in the Gila Elikuz. At the day, what they reveal, their Shoyrash Amiti, where they really come from, what is really the Shoyrash of the Keilim, and that adds it, that is Mushabeach, a new vista, how to call it, a new dimension, the Gamra in the Indian of Gila Elikuz. In other words, it's not just Oirois, but it's also the Shoyrash of the Keilim. And it's one of it. The Shoyrash of the Keilim is from Maila Harva, from the Indian of the Oirois. Therefore, they're Moisif also. Atam Miyuchad Mitzidam. But that's only when you've been Mavaram and you've made them in a way that they become B'Teilim Eloiros. That they're able to be Megala over their milas, so it becomes a Yichud Nifla between the Oiros and the Keilim, not just a one-way Indian of the Keilim, but B'Teilim to the oil, but there's an interaction in which the oil is Mohoira, the Shoyrash of the Keilim, and then the Keilim are also Moisi, or their Shleiman, their Megala, their Koyach Eloki, their Shoyrash Eloki. And so then you get an emes, Dira, Manish, Bis Galus, Atzim, say, Ramata. That's what he says, that the Veda, Biro, and the front-to-front confrontation with the Dvarim HaGashmiyim, that causes the immediate sin of Dira through having made those Dvarim HaGashmiyim Keilim. We saw the whole Maila in the Indian of Keilim. Auch in bezet davke nimmst du finden sei helemaal mit dem sei davke dienen und der Eibischte how he is mitzad atzme and mitzad atzme he's beheaded from the whole Indian and the Bria and the whole Indian of all the Giluim from the Giluim Aki El Yoinim. Yet nonetheless davke that becomes miskale. That's what Paul says. We go along with some of the Lashonas in reference to the Boirois how their mamish including betuich ha'atzme. But not had they been nimshach already begolui as a mokya to establish it. And so that's the minor of the Aveda with the Dvarim HaGashmiyim. Al pi kol hanal yuvan keshem sho'evet ha'nema ha'oivet mitzad ha'ava v'ishkashvus hari hu matzliach el ha'odoim v'hoisif lo'iteis v'sbracha v'avidosayim. But the motion is brought yildim v'amatzbe el ha'dvarim. Behind the mitzad oitzim ha'ishkasu shaloim shemashli nafshoi mineged v'oiser atlasis nachasluot la'adoinoi v'chofetz me'oid bat slachas ha'odoim she'yeh le'teisus bracha maruba v'yeh le'tainu v'nachasluot la'adoinoi. L'zois mitzad oitzim cheftei v'rotzeine ha'toiv harei hu matzliach Emes or Mamshi Toisavus Bracha Maruba. We see that the Evet Neman, if we go mitzad the Emes analysis and understanding of the milas of the Evet Neman, then we have to reach a conclusion that he's also not just by any means just a very ornamental and praiseworthy servant of the master. On the contrary, he also causes and is brings about and what I call awakens within the whole household of his master all sorts of inyanim which are called Hatzlacha. And so the Eden of an Atzlocha means a Tosefus, an addition in things which were anyway going well. In other words, Hatzlacha is not a correction of a bad situation. Well, Hatzlacha is when there was Balavachi Adova, which was good and it was very good, not only acceptable, but it was already going B'derech HaToim. And you come along, you add a great Tosefus into it, and that Tosefus is called Hatzlacha. In other words, we see that by Yosef Atzadik, that it's written by Yosef, Ish Matzliach, or that he was a Ish Matzliach, Kol Asher, Adonim Noisim B'Yodei, Are Hashem Hoyo Matzliach. They used to give any van Hatzlacha. So the master's household was really a rich household. It was anyway a developed household. What Yosef did was he put this whole Tosefus, this tremendous addition to what was already a rich situation, already an enviable situation, and he made it incomparably greater and better. So that's the union of the Mila of the Eved Ne'eman. The Eved Ne'eman, because he is so devoted, and that's what the Rebbe said. Because his avodah is mitzad ahava v'yiskashu. He's mitzad that he's devoted and he loves his master, and he's bound up to him and he's given himself over to him. With this lashon we call iskashus. What iskashus is got. So amayla in the sense that he's bound over with all these koiches. His kashus, he's bound himself over completely to the master, that because of that, dafki because of that dafki because of that is kashrus, and therefore he carries Hatzlacha into the inyanim of the other and brings him Tosefus. He brings him a Tosefus bracha, additional inyanim compared to what he had in a good way. So I said, how does that function? How does that work? So he said that the key to it, and the spot which makes that understandable, is dafki the union of these kashrus. Dafki because he's completely given over, and he's completely devoted, and he means the good of the other. He means the good of the other, and he means the nachas ruach. He wants that the other should have nachas and should have satisfaction, and not just stam satisfaction, but himself. How would you call it, nachas and simcha, in the avodah of the Eved, meaning that the Eved Ne'eman, if you were to ask him, why are you involved here, then he would certainly say he's not involved because of his own inyanim. He only means the master. It's just that because the whole basis of the devotion to the master is mitzad ahava v'yiskashu. Well, both of those involve, like we pointed out in the last class, they involve a certain interflow. They involve a certain way you love something, there's a flow back from that. Way you push it to something, there's a flow back. And remember, that indicates that the sophos of the Eved Ne'eman does have certain inyanim which Philatzmi present. But that's not his kavanah. There's a Loshen Yul said, the Rakish said, on the contrary, he's an Eved. He's an Eved Ne'eman. So he's devoted to the Odin, and he loves him in a form of Mesiras Nefesh. In other words, Be'emes Lamitoi. And therefore, all of the milas of his koicha are used for the sake of the Odin, and due to the fact that he's a believed and trusted. So the Odin gives him all the secrets of the household into his hand, and he takes all that and uses it in a way of Mesiras Nefesh for the sake of the Odin, which means that the Odin gains from that a tremendous Tosefus in all the inyanim, and that's noticeable. It's pagoda. It's recognizable. We have to be the picture being drawn. The regis is that you can't play down the Eved Ne'eman. Nobody's playing him down or something. And therefore says the Rebbe, Davki, because he's devoted with Ahava and with his kashrus, therefore he brings Hatzlacha, and we just point out Hatzlacha means a tremendous new bracha in what was anyway a good situation. V'hainu mitzad oitzim aish kashrus, mitzad the tremendousness. Oitzem is from the word great or tremendous. Oitzim aish kashrus, from the ever building his kashrus that he feels to the Odein, shemashlik nafshei mineged. He throws his own soul completely aside. Mashlik nafshei mineged. He completely overlooks any of his own inyonim at all. V'oiser rak lasis nachas ruach ladoinu. He does everything purely for the sake of the nachas ruach of his master. V'chofetz me'ed b'atzlacha zod. And he wants very much that the Oden should have atzlacha and pirus. And what does that mean? Like we just pointed out, she'ir lo teisvus bracha meruba. He wants that he should have an additional blessing. And that's the concept of atzlacha, as we pointed out. Atzlacha doesn't just mean that everything's going well. Atzlacha means that there's a whole very recognizable addition, but there are bracha into what was already there in a good way before, and then he wants that to be in a implementation with bracha maruba. He wants to be as great as possible. And he wants that the audience should have tainuk and tremendous nachas ruach from all this. And therefore, due to the greatness and the unlimitedness of his inner will, what chayfetz is one of means is pneumatic. In other words, where you want something with the emes and you're devoted with the emes, then you achieve it. There's nothing will stand in your way. And that's the Tyson. He's mashlik nafshei mineg. He goes in mamish with an unlimited Mesiras Nefesh b'inyan. And therefore, he sees the realization of his goal. Hari hu matzliya b'yem. Umamshik teishin is bracha maruba. That's what happens. In other words, that the whole household of the Odin brings with itself prosperity, but not just stam prosperity, but taste of his bracha. And so on the famous pure in bracha, the bracha doesn't just mean stam, but it means a ribui shefa. That's the concept of matzliya that's brought down by the Getty Yetzer. So Ella said that the Evan Eman is a tremendously elevated servant, but it's based on a recognition of the Oden, and therefore it's Ahavas Oden. And he's taken himself over, and mitzad the Ahava, he's been makasher himself to the Oden. And therefore, he, as it were, he becomes part of the Oden's household. He becomes linked in a way that he's like a functioning tool or machine or whatever you like to call it in the household of the Oden for making better, for doing, and for Trisefes. The Benimshul, if we that's in the Mashal. If we take it in the Mashal, in Avedus Hashem and in Inyonim of Ayid to the Eibishter, Hainu be'eved ha'ne'aman she'eino oived l'tzorech atzmei klal. He doesn't work and serve Hashem purely for his own necessity. In other words, he's not looking that he wants all these good things to shine into him. He wants only to cause a tremendous kaviyochel with satisfaction. And we can call that Lamaila by the Eibishter. And he wants, he has a deep inner rotzen in the, literally the increasing or the expansion of the koyach Hashem. In other words, he wants that Inyan Elokus should be seen in the world, and it should become clear everything's bottled to the Eibush, and everything functions according to Ratzon Havaya, and everything is mamish Elokus. Therefore, he wants a Hagdolas Koyach Hashem. I mean, the Koyach Hashem is anywhere there. What do you mean, Hagdol? There should be more Golui and more recognizable and more clear Be'ene Ha'amim, Be'ene Ha'olam, meaning that he's attempting and crying to the Eibush that there be a revelation from higher Madrega, and therefore the higher Madrega in Elokus, the more it's Mavatil the world, the more it's Nika the Pula in the world. Kamoy, like Moshe Rabbeinu requested, when Moshe Rabbeinu saw after what happened by the Meraglim, and the Eibush was tremendously Kaviyach Makpid about what happened. With the whole Chet HaMeraglim, the Moshe Rabbeinu prayed, and he said, Ve'ato yigdal no koyach Hashem. And now, he said, let there be a whole new revelation of the koyach Hashem. Yigdal no koyach Havaya. In other words, to overtake and to overcome the great fall in the creation caused by the Chet HaMeraglim, then you're going to have to reveal a whole new level in Elokus. It's Mavur, the Kuti Torah, Barikas. The Alter Rebbe points out that there's the Shem Adnan and there's the Shem Havaya, and there's even Koyach Adnan. Well, Koyach Adnan is in the Mokir of the Shem Adnan, a very, very new and tasteless Madrega of the Pratim of the Shem Adnan, Mitzad Shorshom Lamaila. Therefore, that's the Pshat, Ato Yigdal Noker. That's a request on the part of Moshe Rabbeinu when he saw the unfortunate upshots at the Chet HaMeraglim. Akamoi Siyu Yedeichem Kodesh or Vorcho Es Havayim. Or another, it's one of the famous beer, that's what it's written in Tehillim, Siyu Yedeichem Kodesh. You should elevate your hands, literally, into the level of Kodesh. Well, Kodesh is one arm. Mugdal Legamrei, into the Madrega Valakusa is Lamaila Meo Ilamas, Vorchu Es Havaya, and you should bring down Borchu, Lashon Bracha, you should be Mamshir, Lamata, the Inif in the Shem Havaya, Sheyeh Toisves Eirish Al Yenim Me'oid, Shebazeh Yeh Nachas Ruach Lamaila. And it's one of the many Mamara Siddas which are Mavaya, that Inyan Su Yedeichem Kodesh. Yeah, well, that's got to do with the union of Natila Shaddai. It's the whole union. When you pour water on your hands before eating the bread, it's on you elevate your hand. That's even Tsuya Deichem Kodesh. Through the Hamshocha, the water on the hand, that's Chochmah, that causes a beetle in the Indian for medicine, and they can be elevated into the Shorosh of Shemavaya. A whole amazing beer, it's also got to do with other Inyanim, even indirectly with the Inyanim business. Klehanim, what they lift up their hand with the Chuli. Suya Deichem Kodesh or Vorchu Es Hashem, that you bring down Agilui. But that Indian is not just the Gila, the Shem Havaya, which is Mufrach, to Kiyum, Seidah, East Aushlas, but Vorchu Es Havaya means to bring a new additional Gila at the Shem Havaya in Olam. Because there's anyway a spoil in the Shem Havaya in Olamus, but it's a Shem Havaya, it's Bo Alidei Dislapses B'Shem Elakim, or Kavavur, or Mafosim, but Rosh Hashanah, that the Indian of the Kiyum or Olamus, and the whole Seder, Vishnausilus, is a Gila of the Shem Havaya, but it's a Gila of the Shem Havaya, Alidei the Slapshus in Shem Elakim. But when we say, Vorchu Es Havaya, the Kavanah is to be Megala, the Indian of the Shem Havaya in the Olam, that there should be a new revelation of Elokus, a new beetle in the world, Mitzad the Gila Shem Havaya, Mitzad Atzmai, not how it comes through the Kelim of the Shem Elakim. And therefore, says the Rebbe, that's another dogma of this whole desire on the part of the Yevet Neman to be Matzliach, the base organ, to bring Hatzlacha, B'Tuisa, V'Sinyonim into the world more than what they are inside the Bria. And we'll see about that in a second, even more wondrous idea. That's Teisvus Elienim Moed Shebezeh here Nachasua by the Eibishter. Boy, in brackets, Sheba Nachasua Sheoise Bavidose Betfila Ve'esha Chatoyla Mitzvahs Nimshik Ali Deiseh Mamela Gilui Oileis Befinas Teisvus Oil. So now this is one of these interesting cases where you have a brackets where we have to be some way. What was that? Moise, what was the what you might say the new union or the chiddush which occurs in the bracket. If we look in the last few lines where he's talking about the devotion that he ever Naaman, then he says that in Yoni is to bring down new oilers into Seder Hishtam. And as a result of that, there's remember Anya for Nachasur. The union of the Hamshocha and the Oil Shadyanim is one inyan. The day what he's achieved that, and that's been carried out. Lapoyim has been Suyidech and Kodesh has been Uvorcha Safaya Lapoyim. Or then the Eibush looks at that result as it were and has Nachasur. But that's Ma'ira and Nachas by the Eibush that there's been a whole new Gilui, new words into Seder stuff. So there, the way it works according to that formula is that the Ike aim on the part of the Adam Ha'oiv Des Hashem, the Ike aim is in the Hamshoch is a Oilet. And Nachasruch is a Teitzor, he said. It's what you call a result, a good result. That's one of the great things that the Eved Naaman is also concerned. In the brackets, the Rebbe says it in a slightly different way. And he said that we can say that the Ikka of Rebbe Naaman is that in his Etzem Aveda of Torah or Mitzvahs, he's concerned that the Torah or Mitzvahs should be a Nachasur to the end. He saw Torah or Mitzvahs, they are the Ratzim, that they are the request and the formula of the ages revealed in Torah. Revealed in Torah. That was the document for the whole history of the whole world. That's the document. Therefore, his devotion, Be'ikah, is to cause the Eibush Nachasur through Gilui HaTorah HaMitzvah. When he does Torah Mitzvahs, that's a Nachasur. Because that's what the Eibush said should be done. If you do it, it's Eibush Nachasur. Or that Nachasur, what the Eibush will have, or that will cause Teisvus. The fact that the Eibush will Kaviyah be pleased and the Eibush will have a tremendous nachas from what he does. But he's only concerned as Torah mitzvahs. He's not so much concerned in being mamshik this or that or. He's concerned in doing Torah mitzvahs. That causes a nachas. That's the yemus of nachas to the Eibush. As a teitzor from the nachas, then the Eibush will give teisvus. In other words, it's exactly if you're careful, it's another description of the previous Indian, but they're almost hafuch, but almost the opposite. In the previous description, he said each concerned with bringing down Eretz Elyon. He understands in Madrigas Lamaila, his Indian is to be mamshik zeh. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what he's done that, and the Eibush sees the result. They say, oh, he has nachas. The nachas is a teitzor from the Hamshoch HaSeirah. Here in the brackets, pick for Ken. The Hamshocha, the Oireis, is a Teitzor from the Nachasur. In other words, the easy concern is only to cause Nachasur. How does he do that? Through the inventory mitzvah. That's easy concern. As a result of the Nachasur, the Eibush to cause is Teisvus. Well, if he said, he doesn't necessarily have to be busy with the Oireis. Lamaila, he's busy with Torah mitzvah. But he does the Torah mitzvahs. They are pure for the sake of Nachasur. And Mamela, the Eibush will give the taste of himself, but they're wrong. Well, if he said, that it's a little bit different, the Musi. It's a bit of Pshat. He actually caused the taste of his bracha. The Eibush Kaviyah gives himself the taste of his bracha. He was the one that was Ma'ira, the whole Gishmak in the Eibush, that he should do that. So therefore it's Kilu that the Hatzlacha was caused by him. And in the first Pshat, what's too heavy, you want to turn the whole thing off?
No, I'm still here.
Huh? If you turn on, it's cold. It's too hot. It is a powerful, something on the floor. It is a powerful air conditioner, I agree. But now, once they put that thing there, it stops the flame. I think if we turn it off, we'd push it. We'd spread it out. And the fact is, that the brackets is one way of understanding it, and the first formula is another way of understanding it. It's not that he actually makes the Atzlacha. The Eibster makes the Atzlacha. Everything's from the Eibster. He causes the Eibster Nachashul. The Eibster, mitzad the Nachashul. As it were, Mamshit, the Tosef, so he Kaviyah gives the extra, in inverted commas, panosa to his own system. In the first pshat, we know that he's devoted to the system, and he's devoted to be Mamshit bringing down the Tosef. It's also different. It's two different shiurim, and maybe the practices are more what you might call in the Etzem movement of Velakus. The practices are more emes understanding. The first one is more how we would understand Machalamai. Ulazais, whatever we understand it, his union is to add Atzlacha Kaviyah into the household, in inverted commas, of all the Shtavshilas for Kol HaOlamas. Ulazais b'emes Babi Dosei Matzliach Miyoi, and therefore he's Matzliach. B'chol Hein Boishi Shel Adonai, with all the tremendous riches and ownerships of the household of his Adon, Hainu be'adiluyim, the Seder Hishtavshilas, but Tosefus brocha maruba alaika. So there we said, once again we're going back to the formula we stated at the beginning, that he brings down with all his unbelievable devotion and what even appears to be Mesiras Nefesh, because Mashlich Nafshi Menege, he manages to bring down those areas which anyway were already shy somehow to have been shy to Gilui and to Hishtavshilas. Already, that's how they are, and they're very mocking. They're not truly B'toich HaAtzma. It follows that he adds into the household and into the richness and the ownership of the Odin in the Nimshal. Well, that means the Giluim, which are side to say these talks, ultimately speaking, to the Inyan of the earth, how they come down, Bagbala, Ubeseida, in what we call Hishtavshilas. It's only that he adds into them a brocha maruba alaika. And either have used that expression, but I hinted at before, that there's a emes brocha, a real brocha, is when that's even more than what you started over. It's not just that it adds to what you had, but it just goes completely beyond and adds a whole new multiplication to what you had before. It's maruba alaika. In other words, the bracha is more than what you ever had from the beginning. And then the Rabbi adds the most amazing point. He said, we can say that this Evet Ne'eman, he causes he causes even more than what the other would have been able to do on his own. In other words, the other is not a businessman, the other is already retired or he's a businessman that he only plays with certain areas, let's say in the stock market, okay, and this Evet Ne'eman, he gets involved in it. When he brings in new Tosefos into the household of the Yod, what he wouldn't have been able to do on his own. So the Rebbe says that Kaviyah L'mayla, Kaviyah, he puts in the word Kaviyah, we know it's a state of saying, yeah, L'mayla. So how can that possibly be? How can he bring about something that the Eibush himself, as it were, wouldn't have been able to do? So he says, Va'inenu liyesh, כי כבר נקצר בתחילת הבריאה באופני הגילויים לסדר ההשתלשלות במידה וקיצבו באופן כך וכך דווקא. He said that once the Eibishter made Seder Hishtavshilas, then that's where it's meant to be, and that's what you might say what the Eibishter budgeted right from the very beginning right from before the Tzimtzum all the way down, through the Amshach Nekav, and through the Dinin of all the Elamus Ak and Akudim and Rudim and Atzilas, and the Amshach in the Elamus Biyah, right from the very beginning, the Eibush Kaviyochel foresaw and what you might call set aside that Kaf would be the Oif and Agil. So it's all the time renewing itself, but it's also renewing itself only Bo'if and Zeh, not Bo'if and Shayna. And I've never come to get in somebody and he's mamshing a whole two sefer into the Indian of the whole Seder of Ishtaushel from the Mokia Harishan, albeit it's a Mokia Harishan, which is Shaykh anyway, he gets back and he's moist toisid in Yonim. That's in the Nimshul Kaviyohel. That's like as we were saying, that he brings more than what the Odin himself could have done or would have done. Because the Eibush gave a certain limitation into the whole Seder of Ishtaushel. Is if he's mamshing more than what was there in Tzaddik, even though he's mamshing it into these house, which means it's also it still has a certain shaykhs to that. Oh, but that's Kaviyah more than what the Odin does for himself. The difference being that in the marshal, the Odin wouldn't or couldn't do any more than that. I mean, Lamayla, the Eibush can do anything, but that's the way he fixed the whole Seder. He comes again, the Eved man, and he's moistif up there. That's like as if it were that he causes in Yonim what even the Odin himself wouldn't have been able to do. And that's what he says, right? It's already been budgeted with Chilas Apriya, or he finally had him to say the Yishtausler. It's already been fixed, but Mida v'kitzvah, in a measurement and in a, literally the word kitzvah means a budget. Yeah, it's almost like a fixed amount of oirim. Even kach v'kach davki. Davki in such and such a way. V'hamshachas tuisa v'soirois yeh davki alidei avedus neshamis Yisrael amata davki. And anything in addition is not going to be for the Eibishter. It's going to be Kaviyachol only from the neshamis alayala lamata. Therefore, Kaviyachol, that's something that he couldn't do miyad. He's already fixed everything. Yeah? And he's waiting on the neshamas that they should earn, as it were, into the whole Seder. In Yonim, which he come over, it's something he couldn't do, but he doesn't want to do, as it were. In the marshal, it's like as if he couldn't do it. And therefore, said the Rebbe, well, so he's. Heimo davke bavidosom hatoivo mamshichim toisefeis. Oilus. So Nimshul of Israel, Davki Yidden, with their good avodah, Avidosim HaToivo. In other words, it's a good avodah, and it's toiv because they mean toiv. They're mamish devoted too, and they know what's going on in Elomus Elyonim, and therefore they want to add into the Elomus Elyonim, and they're very devoted and, how do you call it, informed and elevated peoples. These Yidden Lamata who are doing their avodah. It's a tremendous inter-deal, like it's an interrelation deal between the Avodim, but they are the Yidden, and Kaviyah they are in the Eibishter, and it brings about Toisha V'Soiroi. He said, "Ubafrat the Eved Hazeh Shechofetz Matzlochas Ha'odin B'Godlei B'Yosef." And he said, "Ubafrat this particular Eved Naaman we're talking about here, that he's chayfetz, he's pnimis arot, that's his whole will. He's batzlachas ha'odin, but gedei loy v'yosef. He wants the atzlacha and the growing of the master. He wants the master to Kaviyah, that he could grow, and he should be a bigger businessman than he was from the beginning. That's Kaviyah, the will on the part of these avodim ne'amonim, they should be mamshik that. So the Rebbe gives a very interesting example. Like a moed, it's called medaktikim al atzmon chulu. V'alidei mamshichim b'chinas nasias ponim, like a meishikosu b'makim Davarimach. But everybody's familiar with the famous Biur B'Tzeh. Well, it's written by Biblish Kohanim. We say, V'yivarach Hashem, V'yishmarecha, And then we say, Yoer Hashem Ponav Elecha V'Yichanecha. Right? Then we say, Yisro Hashem Ponav Elecha V'Yosef B'Chodshah. So the Gemara, how can you possibly say a thing like that? Because Yisro Hashem Ponav means that the Eibishter will literally find favor. He will elevate his face towards you. And that is an expression in Lashon Kodesh meaning to show favoritism. Nasias Panim, Lisah et Panim, means that I show you something which is not really due to you, it's not really you, as it were, but I favoritize you, and you're very loved and favoritized by me. The Faragivik Kach, and that's what they call protect you. In the modern language, that's what they call protect you. Nasias Panim. And that's what we say at the end of the Biblical Skonim. Yisro Hashem Ponav Elecha V'Yichanecha. So afraid the Gemara said the Prophet. And the Gemara asks the shadow, V'ki Yesh Nasias Panim Etzlo Yisborach. Is there such a thing as favoritism by the Eibishter? What should do with it? Yesh Nasias Panim Etzlo Yisborach. So the Gemara, a pillar the Gedah. And the Gemara says, Omar Kodesh Baruch Hu, V'chi lo yaseh panim liYisrael. Well, I can't possibly show favoritism. Well, how can I possibly not show favoritism? V'lama, he said, Ani Omati b'toiro, V'achalto, V'savato, V'irato. That when are you going to bench? When are you going to have to say Bilis Hamazon? Only if you ate and you filled yourself up. Very good. You reached what's called severe. But what is severe? How do you take severe? Satisfaction. You reach what do you call fullness. He said, "V'heim medaktikim al atzmon," and they are medaktikim on themselves. Yeah, ad kizayis v'ad kibeitza, or ad kibeitza v'ad kizayis. And they come along and they'll bench to me, even if they're only a kizayis or even even a kibeitza or even a kizayis. They also bench. In other words, I was only machayavon. If they had spears, and they come along, and they are literally they support him, and they favoritize me, and they want to bench me. They're so anxious to mention that even if they eat only a kazayas or a kabeita, they also bench. Folks, again, everybody teases and everybody turns the world over. How can you possibly say that? If the Torah says you're not supposed to bench unless you have severe, how can you come on and bench on a kazayas? I mean, a kazayas is not very much. A kabeitza, maybe that's 2 times over. A kazayas, a bit more. I don't know why I kazayas. The Torah said you have to be severe. Yeah, we're good. The Father teaches us, is that with the Rabbanan, or maybe it's with the Raisa, how can you make a bracha if it's not really Seder? There are 3 brachas, I mean 4 big brachas we make in Bilas Hamazon. How can you do it? Although that's a big question in Nigla. How as a child do we do what we do? If you eat a kazayas, talk for day, a filas pras, and you have to pay. Eibusha says that he said they even favoritize me. They are medaktik al atzmon, and they bench me 3 brachas min HaTorah and another one with Rav. Yeah, even if they when I told them you don't have to do that unless you eat a severe, you have to eat mamish enough to make yourself do. So he said, "Hey, noising ponim alive. Hey, lo yaseh ponim alive." How would I be able not to favoritize them? They're hidden. And when we see from that, says the Rebbe, that's a dogma of the sin of being mamshichim, teisches, oilis. In other words, that comes, the infant, the ability to be mamshich, teisches, oilis, comes from a desire to to be matzliach the other and to be devoted to his greatness, to be given over to increasing his greatness. So the Rebbe said, where do we see a child to say? I mean, you serve the Eibush al pi Torah and mitzvahs. That's a tremendous job in its own right. And if a person keeps all the Tariq mitzvahs, all the practice of all the halachas, that he's devoted and he's very concerned for the sake of the other. Said the Rebbe, where do we find a Yidden that we can say about Yidden that they're concerned about increasing the Eibush's greatness and they're very concerned about his being even greater than what he really was? Kaviyach v'chuli v'chuli. So the Rebbe said in that Yidden from Birchas Hamazon, Davki in there, said when the Yidden are so anxious to bless the Eibush, that makes him known in the world, greater, that adds to his greatness, that they're medakti kalatzmon, that they literally bench me even when they're not mafur klalo, when they've been neme from mi'oilom, bahar b'pochis mimasha amati b'toira, and here they are, that's indicatory that in every evening they're looking somehow to, as it were, be devoted and to make the Eibush great in the eyes of the Briyos, in every prat, even when I didn't tell them, even when I didn't demand it over clouds. That rises the big shaila in English. We can design of Al-Kaponim as a Yidden. Said the Rebbe, and we see that Yidden are devoted in a way that they favoritize and they spoil the Eibush. They're completely given over. There should be tremendous increasage of the Eibush greatness. So there was the Eibush, how could I not favoritize as our people? Therefore, Yisrael Jem Porabay, Elecha, Yosef Machar Shalem, und die ganze Ariches, die ganze Reichheit und Birchas Koyan. Said the Rebbe, wie sehr nimmt der Eved hazeh, mamshi toisevus meruba b'tiv avidoseh. He brings a tremendous addition into everything that they understand. He adds to say this house. He adds what the Eibush Kilo didn't have. And he makes the whole Seder Shtalos tremendously rich. Al Yidei, the greatness and the quality, B'tiv Amidos. So there we have a tremendous picture of the Eved Ne'eman. I mean, this is a very high, in all the Hemshech. So far, I don't think there's been such a very praiseworthy picture of the way the Ne'eman. I mean, stated with such an intensity as we see here. So the Chayva Zoya asks himself the question: what is the mind of the Eved Ne'eman? Because we're going to see that the Eved Ne'eman achieves more even than this. Because you notice that the Rebbe keeps saying here that this Eved achieved Toisvus Maruba in Seder Shtalos. What's already there, mitzad the Giluyim and mitzad the Yeridim, Omayla Lamata, he adds tremendous profit literally into that. Of the Mamish Atzmus himself should come into the whole deal that we didn't hear. So therefore we're going to see that the Eved Pashut, he also brings about a whole new meaning. He also brings about a tremendous profit into the whole situation. But he brings us our profit with some cloud nobody ever dreamt of. And that is Atzmus himself. And the others are truly the they should come into say big, right? Are those in your what the Eved Ne'eman is Mamshik, Ataka Toisefet. They're not there, but they're all got a shaykhs to the Seder. They're from the same medical, they're from the same bang, they came out from the same place basically. And therefore they're not Ur Chodosh, they're Toisefet, they're an addition, but they're not Mamish Ur Chodosh. The Eved Ne'eman, he's going to make us our prophet. But this is not, Shaykh. As they say in Yiddish in the Shaykhs, right? That's a good, it's another Indian, and that's Yamshach, a steer of Tactanium, Yamshach, the Indian of Atzmus Mamish Shamat. remember we'll see about that in the future, and continuing and developing episodes. But that is the mitzvah of somebody who's completely devoted. Because the Eved Ne'eman, he's devoted. I mean, so I mean, what's the chesed of the Eved Ne'eman? I mean, we've been saying that he's not as great as, and he's avoided only in Shura Shumokeh. It's not Mamish Natzman. I mean, he's good, Peledikamim. And all Yidden are called in his line, what we all describe Yidden in a way, Kilayas upon him with Israel. I mean, it's talking about Yidden in general. See his upon him. It's very high in, but it would appear that it's only so from such leaders which anyway were already there. It's just they didn't necessarily have to be there. That's called the Siyas Pony. The Chayvazoi also to show what is the chisolim, what is lacking in the Avodah here. Why do we say it's so? It's not the Emes Shleimus and the Emes Tatus. Dafke the Avodah there, and the Avodah Poshu. That's what really brings about the Killer Art. We should the chisolim and the Avodah. Now, what's outside? So the beer which occurs in this hemshech, the hemshech and the Mekonos, Acherim and in Ayin Beis, the references about the Pasha Ne'eman, is a tzolkosor, the Eved Ne'eman, with all his minds, with all the tremendous, with even the Mesilas Nefesh, Talmud. Tzolkosor, that's not Emes Aveda. It's not called Avodah. It's called Sheirus. So, it's not emphasized. If you ask the Eved Ne'eman, would he be prepared to do something else? He said, no, wait. This is his whole, his whole geschmack, his whole feeling, his whole Leben there, all in Zinyon. If I'm in a so-called Ahavo, Iskashut, all these inyonim describe a self-benefit, a being in it because of the taste of the tzolkos. And ultimately speaking, he is in it because he's in it. And he wouldn't, under any circumstances, consider anything else. You ask the Eved Poshet, and he's on his soul. Would you really ever consider, if I could have only imagined that there wouldn't have been mutton turn, there wouldn't have been, I wouldn't be an Eved to the Eivshter. I'd do anything. Give me anything, I'll do it. What can I do? I got to do the Eved. Remember, he's not in it for Tzir. Is if he does do it ultimately, that's what we call Hanoch HaSatzmusei. He's put his whole self aside. This man needs what I say, Muzmentor. Not what Muz, Kach Tzorik Lir. Remember, Nimtzalef, he said that it's not him at all. Bittul Kol Rajmus. Remember, Gorega that he does a certain inyan, and he does it purely without the oil of the odin, then the odin is here. That's the odin. It's not him. I see the Eved Ne'eman, that's him. It's just that he's a very, very devoted, fine person. Oh, well, who's actually doing it here? By the Eved Poshet, it's not him. That's the Eivshter. Who is there at that moment? Man, if you Rotzen Havaya and Rotzen Havaya is Havaya. Rotzen Havaya is him. That is the Nekudas Ha'inyan. If he said what he's going to say at the end, what he's going to say at the end of this minor, that Rivazuri, that's not really his mitzvah. When he does a mitzvah, that's the Eivshter's mitzvah. When he does a mitzvah, really the Eivshter's mitzvah, it's not his mitzvah. You can't say, I did the mitzvah. It's a man, he's just a min. He's a bit boring, he's like a screwdriver. Dat hij kwetsend een beetje heeft. The greatness of some of all is you can learn to become a bore. You learn to be a screw. Screw you in. Dat is de eeuwigste smid, dat is de eeuwigste stieren. You can be a big, tremendously opposite as a dying deer in two masters. We have another geschmack. You wouldn't dare do it. Just I love devotion to the other. Isn't that right? You ever heard anything like that in your life before? You don't know the Muslims for him to Mr. I like the Evan Neman, he's by the he's a tzaddik also. Takes away out the way. The Chabad's Torah, very beautiful, fine. Take his hand, so I'll let him put out now. Thank you, big time. We're going over to the other portion. We're going over to his camp. We want Asmus now. Close. We want Moshe. Get that through, people. Get through the 6 cows. Let's take up 3 or 6 cows. People should realize that the last game is going on. It's beginning, the last game. The game is going to be the pitch, but only for the sake of man, it's living. It's got to happen. And listen to that. The river says, forget everything. You can see that the world will keep it. Forget about all this. You never heard the Rebbe say by a Rebbe, oh listen guys, it's Kedai that you guys should want to Mashiach. Oh listen, imagine it's going to be so beautiful. You know, it's a little it's got to be, that's the big. Are you worried about what will be with your bank account? Your American president will have to look out. He said, there's a law in America. All the banks go broke. Some of the American president he has to come up with the money. But he's also part responsible. That's exactly how it was based. They said, so don't worry about your money. If anything goes wrong with it, the American president will have to worry. Just get up on that Anishmai and go fly. Okay. Ducky, that's the answer to the world. That's the answer. That's the answer to all these terrible dumbbells that they're running the world. You know, these American presidents, all these prime ministers of England, and all these schmendrickers. They're running the world into destruction. This little weenie of a person keeps